Most retirees are sitting on an asset worth more than they realize, and almost nobody is teaching them how to use it. This video is about what that asset is, what it's actually worth, and 3 specific moves that you can make this week that could change somebody's income trajectory, maybe even including your own. Sometime in the last 20 years, boomer stopped being a generation. It became an insult, a shortcut for out of touch, a shortcut for someone who got the deal and doesn't understand why the deal is gone. Okay, boomer. Here's the thing. Some of that criticism, it's fair. Because when younger people are struggling with wages, housing, inflation, layoffs, and the older generation responds with, work harder, stay loyal, it'll pay off, that lands as absolutely tone deaf. Not because the values are wrong, but because the advice doesn't fit the world they're actually living in right now. But there's a second part of that criticism, wow, that stings even more, that boomers pontificate, that they give speeches, that they talk about what worked for them without ever getting their hands dirty in what's actually in front of someone right now, today. That's the one worth arguing with, because I think most of us are sitting on more real, deployable, income-generating leverage than we even recognize. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like, not as advice, as action. 3 specific moves. Any one of them could change someone's income trajectory this month. You know this conversation. Everyone your age knows this conversation. You run into someone, you ask how the kids are doing, and the answers are always the same. I had this conversation today. Inflation, wages are flat, housing is impossible for the kids to buy anything, layoffs with absolutely no warning. They're doing everything right and they're still falling behind. And the parents, they don't argue. They can see the numbers. They know the starter home their kid is trying to buy costs 3 times what theirs did in actual real dollars. They understand why younger people have stopped trusting a system that used to reward people who followed the rules. Most of us, we just shake our heads. We say, wow, it's tough out there. And we go home like we have nothing to offer except sympathy, hollow sympathy at that. Here's what I want to reframe, because I think we've been looking at this wrong. We talk about retirement assets like they're all financial. The 401k, Social Security check, the home equity. But there's an asset that doesn't show up on any balance sheet that most retirees are carrying, and it's one of the most income-generating assets that even exists. It's your network. It's your credibility. 30 years of relationships with people who trust you, and they will take your call. That's not a soft asset. That's not a feelings conversation. That's a door-opening, income-generating, trajectory-changing resource. And most people your age have no idea how to even deploy it, not just for family, for anyone in your orbit, your community, your neighborhood, your church, your gym, heck, your block. Anyone who's struggling and would benefit from a connection that only you can make. Not advice, moves. Here's what getting your hand dirty actually looks like. Someone in your life is sharp with AI. Could be a kid, could be a neighbor, somebody from your community. They know how to use it in ways that could help a small business generate more leads, save time, cut costs. But they've got no credibility with established business owners. Nobody's going to let a 26-year-old they don't know touch their business systems. Now, you know a small business owner, someone who's been running a local operation for 20 years, and they trust you. Here's the move. You make one introduction, not a pitch, not a favor ask. You say, hey, this person knows something that could help your business get more customers. Let them show you what they can do. Buy them lunch. That's it. Your credibility transfers. A skill becomes an opportunity. That opportunity can become a client, a retainer, real income. You didn't give a speech. You just made a call. Let me give you another example. Someone you know is in construction. They're good at the work. Look, genuinely good. But they're hitting a ceiling. They don't know how to bid bigger jobs. Not quite sure how to manage subcontractors. They're struggling. How do you build a business out of what their hands can already do? Here's the move. You find an established general contractor in your network. Someone who's been in business, again, call it 30 years. And you call in the smallest favor imaginable. Hey, would you sit down for an hour? I'll buy the burgers. That's the cost of entry. One hamburger. Even at what hamburgers cost today. That contractor has made every mistake that younger person is about to make. They know which ones are survivable and which ones are not. One conversation, it compresses years of trial and error. A cold call from a stranger gets ignored. A call from you, it gets answered. Next example, someone in your life, they work in healthcare. They're good at what they do, genuinely, again, good. But the hospital system has a ceiling on their wages, a floor on their hours, and somewhere along the way, the job that used to mean something started feeling like a machine they're feeding. They're not asking to quit. They're asking, man, is there another way? Here's your move. You don't need to have the answer. You call 3 or 4 people from different industries, a business owner, maybe someone from pharma or insurance, someone maybe who runs a small organization, and you say, hey, I need an hour of your brain. Someone I care about has skills the healthcare system is wasting. Can you help me figure out where those skills actually belong? You sit down, you map it out. What does a skilled nurse actually know how to do? They manage crisis under pressure. They communicate complex information to frightened people in plain language. They coordinate care across multiple providers. They document everything. They train, they lead. That's not a nursing skill set. That's a transferable skill set that half the industries in this country need and they cannot find. And then this is the move. All of you ping your own networks. Not one introduction, 5 people making calls simultaneously, each one carrying your collective credibility into a different industry corner. That's not advice. That's a search party. And you organized it. Look, don't be a boomer. Now, you're probably thinking about someone right now, a kid, a neighbor, someone from your community, someone who has skills the world isn't seeing yet. And you might be the one connection that changes that. Okay, now look, before you do any of this, one thing, if it involves someone's kid, you coordinate with the parents first. You don't go around them. You don't make unilateral moves. You ask what they need and you deploy your leverage in the direction they're already trying to go. This isn't about being the hero of someone else's story. It's about being useful to the people who are. And when it's community, a neighbor, someone from church, someone at the gym, the same principle applies. You're not rescuing anyone. You're just opening a door they couldn't open themselves. They walk through it on their own. Look, same 2 people, same question. How are the kids doing? This time, you have a very different answer. Not that the economy turned around, not that housing all of a sudden miraculously got affordable, but that you did something. You made a call. You bought a hamburger. You got 4 people on a Zoom call. You stopped shaking your head and started opening a door. That's not a graduation speech. It's just a Tuesday afternoon. Maybe the word boomer stays an insult. For people who never got their hands dirty, fine. But there's another word for someone who sees a younger person struggling in their family, in their community, anywhere in their orbit, and uses every relationship they've spent 30 years building to help that person move. We used to just call that a neighbor, a mentor, a guide. And it turns out the asset that makes all of it possible, it doesn't show up on any retirement statement, but it might be the most valuable thing you own. This is Brain Flash.